Howdy, I'm Derek from Heckler. In this video, I'll walk you through how to assemble your Heckler Stand for Rallyboard 65. Before we get started, a couple quick notes. First, this stand is specifically designed for use with Logitech Rallyboard 65. Secondly, you'll need 2 people to safely mount the Rallyboard 65 display once the stand is assembled, so have a buddy nearby. In the box, you'll find 1 beam, 2 columns, 4 legs, 4 casters, 1 4mm hex key, 1 5mm hex key, 2 column caps, 4 cable managers, 2 upper display mounting screws, and 4 lower display mounting screws. We recommend laying down a blanket or drop cloth to protect your assembly parts, especially on hard surfaces. We'll start by installing the casters into each leg. All 4 casters and all 4 legs are identical, so any caster can go into any leg. First, engage the brake on each caster. The brake locks both wheel spin and caster rotation. Next, thread the caster into the socket at the bottom of the leg. Continue turning by hand until the caster is fully seated and the hex portion of the caster is completely set inside the leg socket. Repeat this process for all 4 legs. Next, we'll install the legs into the beams. Bear in mind all 4 legs are identical, so they can be installed in any leg socket on the beam. Lay the beam on its side or flat on your work surface with the leg sockets facing up. Using the supplied hex key, back out the 2 set screws at each leg socket, just enough so the leg can slide in without hitting the tips of the screws, but do not remove them completely. Check to ensure there are 2 set screws present at every leg socket. Orient the leg so the surface with the 2 conical holes aligns with the 2 set screws and insert into the beam socket. As you insert, depress the silver safety push pin on the side of the leg and slide the leg fully into the beam socket. When correctly installed, you'll feel and hear the safety pin click into place inside the beam, and the 2 tabs at the end of the leg will sit flush with the outside surface of the beam. Next, tighten the 2 set screws. Snug them firmly so they sit nearly flush with the beam surface, but do not over-tighten. As the conical tips of the set screws engage the conical holes in the leg, you'll feel the leg settle into its final aligned position. Repeat this process for the remaining 4 legs. We recommend installing the rear leg on the same side next, as it will provide a sort of kickstand when installing the legs on the other end of the beam. Once all 4 legs are installed and tightened, carefully upright the base. Next, engage the brakes on all 4 casters. At the top of the beam, locate the 2 column sockets. Using the appropriate hex key, back out the 2 set screws at each column socket, just enough to allow the column to slide in. Again, don't completely remove them. Both columns are identical and can be mounted in either socket. Hold the column vertically over the beam socket and align the end of the column with the opening. To ensure proper alignment, keep the column vertical throughout this process. If the column becomes misaligned, remove it, realign, and try again. Do not try to pry or rock a misaligned column into place. When correctly seated, the tabs at the end of the column will rest flush with the outer surface of the beam. Tighten the 2 set screws until they are snug and nearly flush with the beam surface. As with the legs, you'll feel the column settle into its final position as the conical tips of the screws engage with the conical holes in the column. Repeat this process for the second column. Now that the stand is assembled, we can prepare Rallyboard 65 for mounting, so have a second person nearby. This stand is specifically compatible with Rallyboard 65 and utilizes the proprietary outer mounting points on the far sides of the rectangular feature on the back of the display. Before lifting the display, determine whether you'll be using Rallyboard's camera above orientation or camera below orientation, as we'll be using special screws for the top 2 mounting points. Locate the 2 upper mounting holes you'll be using. as you'll find several threaded mounting points. To locate the upper mounting point, measure about 11.5 inches or 295 millimeters down from the top edge of the display. Thread one of the included upper display mounting screws into this position on both sides of the display. Engage the screw at least 4 full turns of thread, but leave a small gap about 0.2 inches or 5 millimeters between the screw head and the rear surface of the rally board. This gap will allow us to use these screws to hang the rally board 65 to the columns. With all 4 casters locked, carefully lift and position the rally board 65 close to the stand. Align the 2 upper mounting screws with the inner slots at the top of each column. Working together, carefully lift and lower rally board 65 down so the 2 upper screws rest in the slots. Before letting go of the rally board 65, ensure the display is fully supported by the 2 upper screws. Once the rally board is hanging on the stand, fully tighten the 2 upper mounting screws. Next, insert the 4 lower display mounting screws through the inner holes on the rear of each column into the corresponding mounting points on your rally board 65. Tighten all 4 screws until the rally board is held snug to the columns and the screw heads are flush with the rear surface of the columns. Again, do not over-tighten. Now that rally board is mounted, we'll finish off the structure with column caps and cable managers. Place a column cap on top of each column and press it fully into position. Now, install the cable managers into the channels along the rear of each column. You can now route your power, USB, HDMI, and Ethernet cables along the columns and down the back of the stand, snapping them into the cable managers as you go. This keeps cables tidy, protected from snags, and out of foot traffic, so your mobile collaboration system stays clean and safe from room to room. And that's it. Your Heckler Stand for Rally Board 65 is assembled. Your Rally Board 65 is mounted, and your system is ready for stable, mobile, modern collaboration. Thanks for watching the assembly process for Heckler Stand for Rally Board 65. For questions about assembly, maintenance, or other Heckler products, follow the links in the description or visit heckler.com.